Hi guys, in this video we're going to be looking at how to graph. In the previous one we were graphing using slope and y-intercept. We're going to do a real quick example just to refresh your memory, and then in the second part we're going to be using something that's called the x and the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept we already learned last time that it's where it crosses the y-axis. The x-intercept is the opposite, where is the line crossing the x-axis. So we can use those 2 points to graph. And I want you to go ahead and put a star next to that vocabulary word. We really need to make sure that we understand what the x-intercept is. And in fact, we're going to draw a little picture just to make sure that we remember what it looks like. If this is my line, this point right here is called my x-intercept. And in case you've forgotten, this point over here is called my y-intercept. So this is my x-intercept, and down here we have the y-intercept. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at example 1. They say, determine the x and y intercepts of y equals 1.5x minus 9. Well, the way to do that, the y-intercept should be straightforward. You should already be able to look at this and say, here's my slope, here's my y-intercept. So right away I see that negative 9 is my y-intercept, because the format that we use for y equals mx plus b told me that the b part always represented my y-intercept. So I can automatically say, okay, my b is negative 9. That's my y-intercept. Now, it says to use the intercepts to graph the equation. Well, I know my y-intercept. I don't know my x-intercept. Okay? But think about what's happening. If it is where it crosses the x-axis, the only way you'll ever get a point along the x-axis is if you haven't moved up or down on the y. So all along the x-axis, my y is 0. So if I want to know where my line crosses the x-axis, I have to set my y equal to 0. So go ahead and put a big star next to that. Write a little reminder to yourself to find x-intercept. We are going to set y equal to 0. That's what we're going to do mathematically to be able to solve it. So that's what I do. I have my equation, which was y equals 1.5x minus 9. I'm going to go ahead and set my y equal to 0. I'm sorry. So instead of y, I'm going to replace it with 0. 0 equals 1.5x minus 9. And if you realize, guys, in the other section that we did, in the other video, we saw that the y-intercept, the one crossing the y-axis, was where the x was equal to 0. That's where we would look for in our table. Now it's the opposite. The x-intercept, where it crosses the line, is going to be where y is equal to 0. So you can use that to remember for both of them. Now we set it equal to each other, and so I have that 0 is equal to 1.5x minus 9. You need to know a little bit about algebra to be able to solve for this. Remember, I told you that in algebra we do opposites. So if it's a minus 9 and I want to get rid of it, I'm going to add 9. So that cancels, and I have 1.5x is equal to 9. I just moved it to the other side by doing the opposite. Okay? Right now I have 1.5x is equal to 9. To be able to get rid of this 1.5x, remember we talked about how that number in front of x means it's multiplying. So to do the opposite, I would need to divide by 1.5 on my calculator in order to get what x is. I go ahead and divide, and I get that x is equal to 6. So we're done solving. We have now found the x-intercept. Our x-intercept is at 6. So where x is 6, my line is crossing the x-axis. Then we're going to use those points that we found to graph. Here, the 6, 0 is my x-intercept, and the 0, -9 is my y-intercept. So I go ahead and graph. My x-intercept is at 6, 0. Whoa, that's a big point. Here is my 6, 0, and then my 0, -9 is down here. So graphically, that's what that would look like, and I can go ahead and connect my points, and I'm done, and I have my line. I want you to go ahead and take a look at part A and B. Try them, pause me, see if you can get the right answer. Okay, so hopefully you were able to graph these. I went ahead and I used my y-intercept, that's the first thing I graphed, and I got 5. And then I went down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3 to get two more points, and then I connected my line and I had my final line. For part B, I went ahead and again started by solving by graphing my y-intercept. It's at 3, and then I went down 3 over 2, down 3 over 2, and I got 2 more points and I made my line. So this is more or less what your graph should have looked like. Now we're going to look at what's called standard form. That's another vocabulary word that you need to know. Standard form is this: ax plus by is equal to c. We've already seen slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Standard form, this is called slope-intercept form, in case you don't remember. And I'm going to run out of space, but try to fit it as best as possible. Slope-intercept form. And what we have here is standard form, which is going to be a number, that's what a represents, plus a number times y is going to equal a third number. So let's take a look at our first example. It says Malden Middle School wants to make $4,740 from the yearbooks. Print yearbooks X costs $60 and digital costs $15. So this can be represented by the equation, and they provided us with the equation. If you notice, you have x and y together on the left hand side. That's what standard form looks like. If your x and y are together, it's called standard form. If it's y equals something and then x plus b, or just with x on the other side, it's called slope-intercept form. So here they want us to graph the equation. So we're going to find the x and y intercepts. So again, write a little note to yourself. To find the x-intercept, we're going to do y equals 0. To find the y-intercept, we're going to find x equals 0. And that's the math that we're going to do to be able to solve those. So I start with my original equation, which is 60x plus 15y equals, and I'm running out of space, 4,740. So let's go ahead and apply it. I want to know, to find the x-intercept, I'm going to put where y is 0. So I plug it in. Instead of y, I'm going to put in a 0. So 60x plus 15 times 0 needs to give me 4,740. Well, anything times 0 is 0, so basically that's not there anymore. I have 60x equals 4,740, and we already learned that when there's a variable next to a number, that means they're multiplying. It's algebra. We need to do the opposite. So let's divide by 60 both sides. So x is equal to 79. I have just found my x-intercept. Now let's find the y-intercept. So same thing. Now to find my y-intercept, I'm going to put in a 0 where x is. So now how's that going to look like? I'm going to have 60 times 0 plus 15y is equal to 4,740. So what happens? Anything times 0 cancels out. It's not there anymore. I have 15y equals 4,740. To get rid of that 15, I need to do the opposite, which is to divide. And so I have that y is equal to 316, and that's my y-intercept. Okay, in example 3, we have now the interpret the x and y intercepts. Well, here they're telling us that the x-intercept is at 79.0, and then the x-intercept that we got was 0.16. So just like when we interpreted the slope, we had to give units. Let's give some units here. 79 what? We're talking about 79 yearbooks, and that is 0 digital. So that means that they printed 79 yearbooks and they bought 0 electronic copies. Okay? In the y-intercept, 0, 316 means they bought 0 paper yearbooks, but they bought 316 digital. So that's kind of how they can either buy 0 paper yearbooks and buy 316 digital ones, or they can buy 0 digital yearbooks and buy 79 paper yearbooks. We're going to skip the got it just because or else will take too long, but we'll talk about it in class.